Potency or homeopathic potentizing, one of the most debated and most criticized topic in the whole history of homeopathy. People say, what? The more you dilute, the stronger it gets? Yeah, whatever you say. But is it merely a dilution? How is it different from just adding more solvent to the solute? Why is it called dynamizing? Just go through the video and find out by yourself. Nowadays, there are so many theories and various explanations about the concept of potentizing. But the thing is, whenever we deviate from the actual source of a concept, we kind of lose its original meaning, its actual essence. What Dr. HAHNEMANN, its actual founder, wanted to convey about it. So today, what we will study will come straight from the original and most accurate source, that is, from the 6th edition of the book Organon of Medicine. So here we are. In Aphorism 269, Dr. HAHNEMANN introduced the theory of dynamizing or potentizing. He explained this with the help of 2 paragraphs and 4 footnotes. The first para explains what happens to a substance when you potentize it. To understand this para, we have to take a deeper look on each part of it. Dr. HAHNEMANN says the homeopathic system develops the spirit-like medicinal power of crude substance. This means during the process, the medicinal power of a crude substance is developed so that it becomes immeasurably and penetratingly efficacious and remedial. And that power cannot be measured through our 5 senses, but the medicinal properties of the substance become more penetrating so that it becomes more efficacious and more healing. It is true for even those substances which have no medicinal power in their crude state. Here a question arises: how can you say that trituration and succussion can develop medicinal properties in a substance? To explain this, he gave a footnote in reference to the term penetratingly efficacious, in which he says, "Before my discovery, experience has taught us the effects of friction in natural substances. For example, friction can cause warmth, heat, fire, odor in odorless bodies, and magnetization of steel. But these were only related to physical, inanimated things." Here he also gives the law of nature, that is, physiological and pathogenic changes takes place in the body's condition by means of force capable of changing the crude material of drugs or non-medicinal materials, which means only a force which is capable of changing the properties of crude material of drugs can bring the physiological and pathogenic changes in the body. The process by which this is possible is trituration and succussion, but only at one condition, that is, after employing an indifferent vehicle in certain proportion. Here he clearly says that unless the vehicle added to the good substance is in a certain proportion, we cannot make the medicine. Here he made it very clear that a simple dilution cannot be called a homeopathic potency. Only a preparation which has gone through a proper trituration or succussion and have a vehicle mixed in certain proportion according to the rules of homeopathic pharmacology can be called a true and genuine homeopathic potency. Further, Dr. HAHNEMANN says, this physiological and pathogenic law of nature was not discovered before my time, and that's why present students of nature and physicians cannot have faith in magical curative power of minute doses of medicine prepared by dynamization. Moving on to the second para of this aphorism, which explains how to potentize. He says, through this process, the latent, slumbering, hidden and dynamic power is awakened, which influences the life principle and change the well-being of animal life. In this process, mechanical action on the smallest particle of a crude drug is applied through rubbing and shaking, and with addition of an indifferent substance, that is the vehicle, by which the particles are separated from each other, and this process is called dynamizing or potentizing, which means development of medicinal power. The product of this process is called dynamizations or potency. To the word slumbering, he gave a footnote explaining the examples of how the latent and slumbering power of a substance is awakened by rubbing. For example, a bar of steel is transformed into a magnet by rubbing it with a dull file in one direction. In the same way, in the process of trituration and succussion, rubbing and friction develops the hidden power and spiritualizes the substance. Here he gives another footnote to explain why it acts only upon living beings. He says, this refers only to increase and stronger development of their power to cause change in health of animals and men, which means by potentization we increase the power of a crude substance which can cause change only in the health of animals and men. When they are brought near to the living sensitive nerve fiber through touch or olfaction or intake, but no action upon lifeless things. Just like magnet only attracts steel needle, steel remains unchanged in chemical and physical properties, but no change in other metals like brass. Similarly, this dynamic, spiritualized medicines can act only upon dynamic power which resides in every living being. To explain what dynamizations are and what they are not, he gave another footnote where he says, we hear how homeopathic medicinal potencies are called mere dilutions when they are the very opposite of it. That is, a true opening up of the natural substance, bringing to light, revealing hidden specific medicinal powers contained within and brought forth by rubbing and shaking, adding a chosen unmedicinal substance or medium of attenuation is a secondary condition. He also explains difference between simple dilution and dynamization. In simple dilution, if we mix salt with water, the grain of salt will disappear in dilution and will never develop into a medicinal salt. On the other hand, in dynamization, the grain of salt is raised to most marvelous power with the help of rubbing and shaking under a certain process, along with addition of an indifferent substance, that is a vehicle, in certain proportion. So this is the concept and explanation of potency as described by Dr. HAHNEMANN in Aphorism 269 and its footnotes. Hope this video helped in a better understanding of the current topic and of Organon. Be back soon in the next video. Till then, keep it simplified.